again, everyone. Thank you to those who have already started putting in the chat where you are logging in from. If you logged in just a little bit after that, we are sharing where we're logging in from, and also if we're coming in as a first year or transfer student. All of you should be in our undeclared exploratory program, and you are here for our welcome webinar. We are really excited to see you, even though we can't see your face. We know that you're there and appreciate you logging in from all over the place. So if you want to keep sharing your location, go ahead. Thank you again for joining us. We are going to get started, so we will go ahead and introduce ourselves and then kind of tell you what is going on for the rest of the program. I am Haley Hill, and I am one of the academic advisors in the Dean's office. I started probably 2.5 years ago, so I'm excited to keep working with you all this coming year in our undeclared exploratory program. We are each going to be sharing some information about how you can build community and find your place at UC Davis. So one thing that I recommend is that you get involved and find different things to do aside from your academics so that you can get to know other people on campus and try to figure out what things you're interested in. Hong?
Hi, everyone. My name is Hong Dao. I'm one of the academic advisor in the College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences Dean's Office. I've been in this office for over 9 years now. And one thing I wanted to kind of share is I know this is a new experience for you all, so we do highly recommend if you don't know where to start with our office. We can answer any questions you have, and we are here to support you. Passing on to you, Joe.
Hello, everybody. My name is Joe Lee. I'm one of the academic advisors here in the College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences Dean's Office, along with Haley and Hong. I've been working in the Dean's Office since March of 2012 and really excited to get to know another great group of students as you all start here at Davis in the fall. I'm originally from the Santa Cruz area in California, so about an hour and a half south of San Francisco. I'm from the Santa Cruz Mountains, really, and so grew up in the redwood trees. So it's nice to see where everybody's coming from. A couple things that I would encourage you all to be thinking about, especially as you start your time here at Davis, is really taking the time to get to know your faculty, office hours, getting to know opportunities through that. That networking is really going to be a key thing as you start to look and search out internships and research and other great experiences here at UC Davis. So great to have you all here, and we're excited to get started with this upcoming academic year.
So some of you already got a little bit warmed up by throwing, again, your login location into the chat, but we're kind of going to warm you up a little bit more and encourage maybe some more folks to also get their brains going. What we would like you to consider right now, even if you're just thinking about it and you don't want to type it in immediately, is how your friends and family would describe you. This is going to be the tricky part, but if you can kind of figure that out in 3 words or less, then we would encourage you to drop that in the chat once you have an idea. So again, our warm up right now is how would your friends and family describe you in 3 words or less, and we're going to drop that in the chat. I will go since it's only fair. And I would say my family probably would describe me as creative. I think also I would probably be described as caring. And I'm seeing some of you have active, social, outgoing. Another one's outgoing. Thanks for sharing. We have a bookworm. I used to be an English teacher, so I can definitely appreciate those bookworms out there. We've got motivated, homebody, responsible, hardworking, generous. We've also got athletic, funny, and kind, experimental, another someone who's funny out there, smart, inclusive. We love to be inclusive at UC Davis and in the College of Ag. We've got hardworking, kind, creative, other creative folks out there, several responsible and caring folks. These are all great so far. Optimistic is one in there I might have missed before. A couple social butterflies out there too. Lots of kindness out there. That's really great. So if you're still thinking, that's totally okay. If you want to continue dropping those in the chat, we'd love to see them. We definitely want to get to know you and kind of what makes you you. That's really important to your journey moving forward, believe it or not. And we are going to also connect this to the rest of what we're talking about today. And I will let Joe go ahead and tell you why thinking about who you are and how you see yourself and maybe how others see you can be helpful for you as you move forward when you start your UC Davis journey. You can go ahead and go to the next slide, huh?
Thanks, Haley. As we start to think about your beginning time here at UC Davis, we want to encourage you to remember, as Haley had started talking about, your development and your progress here at UC Davis extends beyond simply the academic programs that you're pursuing. So we encourage that continued development in academics, personal, professional, and all sorts of other interests that you might have. We really encourage students to get connected and engaged with different forms of community, and we'll be talking about that later. And we really are here to support you in that journey. You're all here today because you're currently undeclared exploratory in the College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences. We recognize that being undeclared can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different students. And within that, students might have a variety of different interests and goals. It's not like having a declared major where students in any given major have an idea of what they want to study sometimes. Undeclared students could be interested in all different fields. We recognize in particular that being undeclared is like a spectrum. Some students are undeclared because that was the first thing that they noticed when they selected a major, when they applied to college. But now they might have a general idea of what they want to do. Maybe you are undeclared because you have an idea of what kind of area you want to study. Maybe you're interested in the environmental sciences or agricultural sciences, but you're not quite sure what major is the best fit for you yet. Or maybe you're undeclared because truly you have no idea what you want to study yet. You're open to all the different things and anywhere in between. And so here at UC Davis and here in the College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences, our goal and our work is here to help you identify your passions and your interests, help you identify majors that may align with those passions and interests, and help you kind of navigate through some of those next steps. Sometimes students start thinking about career goals. Some students want to start thinking about different internships or other research experiences. Maybe you're interested in double majoring. Whatever the case may be for you, we're here to help you navigate that. You have time to declare your major. There's no rush, or we don't want to impose any pressure. You have time to consider different options. So we really want to encourage you to know that this is really the start of a partnership and a process to help you discover those interests and next steps. Eventually, you do need to declare a major by the time you complete 90 units here at Davis, which generally is the end of your second year at UC Davis. So Hong will tell us a little bit more about some of the advising support and advising programming that you'll experience during your first couple years at UC Davis.
Thank you, Joe. So there is a little bit of difference between high school and advising support. So advising at UC Davis may look a little bit different than what you can expect from when you were in high school, or even some of you who also attended community college or other four-year institution. So you may have had a career counselor at your high school or your community college that helped you with everything. However, here at UC Davis, you have different advising support to assist you on your educational journey. So here you'll see on your screen, there's four different advising support here that you could look into and seek out. We have the major advisors, UAP Dean's Advisor, which is where me, Joe, and Haley work in, faculty advisor, which are your professors, and also peer advisor. And we have peer advisor in the department level and also in the dean's office. To kind of dive in a little bit more, for your major, if you want to know what classes you want to take, especially if you have in mind what major you're planning to declare, you could actually reach out to those intended major or go on to the Ag Advising modules just to see what kind of information are out there in terms of helping you with course scheduling and other recommendation. So here for major advisor, once you identify a major, they can help you with major requirement, help you with course planning. Also, they can also help you with finding internship, lab research opportunity, and also connect you with faculty as well. Here in the Dean's office, since you all are currently exploratory undeclared student, we can help you with figure out what major direction and help you explore different major, help you answer questions about your university, general education, and college requirement. We also can go over college policies and procedures. We don't expect you to know everything, so if you don't know where to start, make sure you come to our office and we could direct you to the appropriate office if our office can help you with that. So even though the major advisor in the dean's office, we do specialize in certain area. And then there are some overlapping that can happen. So you'll see this Venn diagram right in the middle. The major and the dean's office, we can both help you with course recommendation, referring you to different campus resources, and also introduce you to co-curricular opportunity that you can get involved in the major or in the college. Earlier I mentioned about the faculty advisor, which are professor. They basically are experienced professor that can help you tailor your major to your interest. And also we have, with the faculty advisor, if you're having any difficulty in the class, they're a great resource for you to first contact to see what support they can provide to you, and can also assist you with that. Like I mentioned earlier, we also have peer advisor in the dean's office, but also in the major department level as well. They are currently UC Davis student that can give you perspective on classes, and major also give you insight about the major that they're pursuing and other tips to help you be successful here at UC Davis. So just know that all of us are here to help you navigate your academic journey. So don't hesitate to reach out for help as you start your time here at UC Davis. And Haley is now going to go over some campus and community resources with you.
Yeah, thank you, Hong. So we did mention, of course, that advising is a great source of support for you on campus when you're at UC Davis, but there are also lots of other different resources on campus that can help you with various goals that you might have outside of your academics or maybe connected to that. So a couple of those that specifically are offered through our college are both clubs and potentially classes for you. So one of those is Manners. And that is, depending on where you look, minorities in agricultural, natural resources, and related sciences, or perhaps multiculturalism. But basically, that organization helps underrepresented students, and with networking opportunities and other goals that they might have, such as expanding their leadership skills, getting to know the ag industry, meeting potential employers and things like that. So you might consider joining that club or possibly taking that class if you are already planning to be in the club. And you can connect with other students who have similar interests to you if you are thinking you want to be in kind of the ag or related sciences. Another similar opportunity would be Aggie Ambassadors. And I say that it's similar because it's also an organization or club that you can join that's part of our college. And many students find this to be a helpful way to connect with other students with similar interests in ag and environmental sciences. And you can also take a class associated with Aggie Ambassadors if you choose to, though it's not required. This organization kind of works with students who maybe also want to expand their leadership skills. And oftentimes that involves helping us plan or staff our events, either with students or other guests who come to campus, and also maybe potentially high school students that might come for various ag-related events, such as our field day or things like that. So it's a really great opportunity to see some of the inner workings of our college and get to know other students and kind of build on your skills and interests outside of your other academics. And I'm going to go ahead and drop the links for both of those into the chat for you so that you can explore more if you would like to. So for Aggie Ambassadors, we've got one link in the chat, and then also for Manners, we're going to add that link to the chat. And you can go ahead and explore those later, or if you feel like you might not have a chance to save them, we will be sending links out after the presentation so that you can go back to these resources. Another resource that can help you connect with students in our college, particularly if you are a first-generation college student and potentially if you are in an underrepresented community, you can potentially work with Aggie Jumpstart students and mentors to get acquainted with UC Davis and being a college student, since we know that is very different from your high school experience potentially, and being on a big campus is sometimes a little bit intimidating. So having maybe a little bit of a smaller community and engaging through events or attending various workshops might be helpful. So that is one other resource that we have specifically for our students in the College of Ag that you might be able to take advantage of if you applied to Aggie Jumpstart. That link is also in the chat now. Another resource that we have for you will be in a form of a class this time for incoming first-year students, which I saw many of, as far as those of you who dropped your class standing in the chat earlier. If you're a first-year student, you will be able to take this course any quarter, fall, winter, or spring. And if you are an incoming transfer student, you also are able to take this course at least in the fall. And you can get to know other students through this class. And you can also explore various pathways. If you aren't really sure what you want to do, or if you think you might have an interest, but you want to explore it further to figure out if that's what you want to actually pursue as a potential major or potential career. So typically we offer multiple sections of this course, and usually it'll be a smaller group of students, so 20 to 25 students. That way you can really get to know folks who are in your class, and then you can get to know mentors that they will have as part of the class too. And some additional information about CDG on the next slide. I will go ahead and put the CDG information on in the chat right now. So in addition to CDG, we do also have other resources that you can connect with to continue building your community and find where you belong at UC Davis. It's really important to your overall well-being and therefore your success to feel like you are connected. It can be really difficult to feel like you're in a totally new place when you're away from home, but some of these centers and other offices that we have on campus can make, again, our UC Davis community feel just a little bit smaller and hopefully make you feel like you are part of a community. Some of the centers that we have on campus might be related to a cultural group that you would associate with, or maybe another group that you would identify with. And so we have a Women's Resources and Research Center. We have a Center for African Diaspora Student Success, a Center for Chicanx and Latinx Academic Success, Native American Academic Student Success, and an LGBTQIA center as well. In addition to all of those centers, we have a cross-cultural center, and these are different places where potentially you can find a study space, you can connect with others in your community, you can attend events, and you can just kind of get to know other people and connect with perhaps other advisors who are in various retention spaces, since we want to make sure that you are not only successful when you first start at UC Davis, but that you continue to be successful along the way for the rest of your time. I will go ahead and drop those into the chat as well if you would like the links to those resources. And what we're going to go into next is some scheduling information and some information about requirements and placements. So we know some of you might end up having questions about those particular topics, and we will leave time at the end too for you to share those questions.
Right. Thank you so much, Haley. So here at UC Davis, I'm going to briefly go over this slide. In order to graduate from UC Davis, under College of Ag, there are 4 sets of different requirements that you have to meet. So the first one is university requirement, which covers entry-level writing, American History Institution requirement, making sure you have an overall UC GPA of a 2.0, and also a senior residence requirement as well. And then under the college category, you also need to satisfy college English composition. Everyone also need to have 180 total units. And in the College of Ag, 54 upper division units are required. In addition to the university college requirement, we also have the general education, which encompasses core literacy and topical breadth. So the first 3 points, University College GE, this is where the dean's office, we can assist you on this requirement. So you can come and talk to us about that. And then anything with a major, make sure that you check in with your major advisor to ensure that you fulfill major requirements. We will be hosting some degree requirement workshop throughout the academic year. So look out for those emails from our office, and we recommend that you attend one of those workshops to kind of understand the requirements a little bit better, or meet with the dean's office or a peer advisor. To talk a little bit about the scheduling tip, building your quarter schedule. This does not just apply during your first quarter here at UC Davis. These are tips to kind of consider also through the rest of your time here at Davis. So the first bullet here, we recommend a balanced schedule. So for incoming students, we recommend if you are thinking of pursuing a science STEM major, we recommend taking a max of 2 science classes, but also incorporate, GE, the career discovery group, maybe potentially first year seminar, balancing that if you want to take college English composition, and other classes. But we don't recommend you take all STEM classes like, science, math, biology. That might be a heavy workload during your first quarter here, but we would recommend that you seek advising from us so we ensure that you are taking a balanced schedule. The next important thing is the prerequisite. Make sure you have all the prerequisite before registering for any courses, especially the placement exam during your first quarter. We will be covering about placement exam in the following slide, so I'm not going to touch too much on that, but making sure if you're taking chemistry, math, English, making sure you have the qualifying score to be enrolled in that course. How do you find the prerequisites for a course? You can look at the general catalog, schedule builder. If you don't have the prerequisite, it may pop up a alert on your schedule builder indicating that you don't have the prerequisite, or our college brochure will also have that as well. Another note is make sure you don't take courses out of sequence without the prerequisite, and ensuring that before moving on to a sequent course. So for example, if you are taking Chem 2A, making sure that you have a C grade or better before you move on to Chem 2B. So it's very important that you have a strong foundation in that course before you move on to the next part of the sequence of the subject. Another bullet here, recommend 15 units during your first quarter here. If you want to graduate within 4 years, taking 15 units per quarter without summer. So if you're taking 15 units per quarter in a year, that will be 45 units a year. Times it by 4, that's how you hit the 180 if you decide not to take summer. But we do recommend taking 12 to 15 units during your first quarter. A 15 unit workload could be heavy, depending on your subject matter, your interest. It's okay, you don't take 15 units. This is where the balance come in. So if taking 12 units is better for you during your first quarter and to get acclimated to the quarter system, your transition, being away from home, and all of that, we do recommend taking a lower workload, and then the following quarter, you could definitely increase it if the workload is manageable for you. Part of the 15 units, making sure that 12 units is minimum to be in good standing. That is also important if you're living in student housing. That could be important for financial aid. Some of you, I do see that you are international student, so that's important for your visa. So ensuring that you are enrolled in 12 units is very crucial. The 12 unit does not include a wait list. So just make sure that you find a backup class in the event that you are on the wait list. So if you have any questions about the workload for your upcoming fall quarter, make sure that you check in with us. The other important part, I know Joe's going to touch on this in a bit, is the entry-level writing requirement. So if you have not satisfied the entry-level writing or take the writing placement survey, make sure you do that and enroll in the appropriate course. We can help you determine that later on when you plan your class schedule. I know some of you may come in and are very unsure what major direction you're planning to pursue. This is where by adding some fun GE classes is a way to kind of help explore different majors. So if you're interested in a particular major, maybe take a class like an introductory course in this major to determine whether or not this is a potential major you want to pursue. You never know. You may end up pursuing a double major or even pursuing a minor, depending on using the GE class as a way as a exploration option. Other tips to kind of hit the minimum 12 unit. I know Haley went over some resources earlier about manners, Ag Ambassador, CDG. Other class you can sign up for is first year seminar. We did provide you with the website here. These are 1 or 2 unit courses where a professor just teach some fun topics that you can meet once or twice a week. So that could be another class that you can consider enrolling. Now I'm going to pass it on to Joe.
Thanks, Hong. So as Hong had mentioned, one of the things that students need to be aware of as they start at UC Davis is something called the entry-level writing requirement. And we'll talk more about that in a moment, but it is important to note that there are different types of writing requirements that eventually need to be satisfied. And frankly, we'll admit, even as advisors, this is a little bit complicated to understand, especially as you're getting used to the curriculum and degree requirements at UC Davis. If it were up to us, some of these rules and names would be changed a little bit to help us understand them a little bit easier, but unfortunately, we can't make those changes on our own, and we're here to help you navigate them. So we wanted you to understand that we're going to talk about this today, but these are excellent things to be discussing with your academic advisors in advising appointments. So I mentioned the entry-level writing requirement, and we're going to talk about that more in a moment. But there is also the college English composition requirement that is part of general education. And then there are also writing experience units that are needed as part of general education. The entry-level writing requirement is kind of step one, if you will, and then we move into steps 2 and 3 along with that. So for entry-level writing, more specifically, students can satisfy the entry-level writing requirement in a variety of different ways. Many of you may have already satisfied the entry-level writing requirement before you even have started your time at Davis. You may have had it satisfied now. Some of the more common pathways to satisfy the entry-level writing requirement include standardized test scores, AP or IB credit, and community college dual enrollment credit. The other option, an alternative, is for students to take what's called the Writing Placement Survey at UC Davis. And Haley dropped a helpful link into chat that goes over the entry-level writing requirement more specifically. The important thing to remember is that if you have not satisfied the entry-level writing requirement, you must do so by the end of your third quarter here at UC Davis. So the entry-level writing requirement does have a timeline where students are expected and need to have it satisfied by the end of their third quarter of enrollment at UC Davis. Students can, as I said before, can meet with their academic advisors and talk over this more specifically. And we believe that this is a great talking point to discuss with an academic advisor because there are so many different ways that you can satisfy it. And students may have different options in terms of satisfying it after they start here at UC Davis. But that website that Haley had placed into chat is certainly one that we encourage you to bookmark and take a look at as you start your time here at UC Davis. So when we go into the English composition requirement, students can satisfy the entry-level writing requirement, then move on to the English composition requirement. And students can satisfy the English composition requirement in a couple of different ways. Most students will choose to take classes, and you can see there the different options where you take 2 classes from a defined list. Students may have AP English credit where they can take and they can use that if they scored a 4 or a 5 on either AP English exam. If they scored a 4 or 5, that satisfies half of the college composition requirement, and then they would need one more course. The third way is after a student has completed 70 units, they become eligible to take what's called the English composition exam or upper division composition exam. That exam is available to students once per quarter. And if you pass that exam, it satisfies your college composition requirement in its entirety. You don't get any unit credit for taking and passing that exam, but it does satisfy the college composition requirement if you receive a passing score on it. I just noticed in our Q&A function, somebody asked, would a 3 on the AP English exam fulfill the entry-level writing requirement? The answer to that is yes. A 3 on the either AP English examination will satisfy the entry-level writing requirement. But those are the two things as they relate to entry-level writing and college composition that we wanted to start by highlighting, because many students will start taking these classes during their first quarter at UC Davis. In fact, it's one of the recommended classes for most majors and for our students that we encourage students to look at, in addition to some of the science and math prep classes that they may be taking for their intended major.
All right. Thank you, Jill, for going over the entry-level writing and English composition. I'm going to cover the chemistry and math placement exam. You all should have had your window of taking the chemistry placement exam. Not all students are required to take these placement exam, but if you are pursuing a major that require chemistry and math, and you need to take the Chem 2 series or one of these math classes listed on the screen, then you will need to take the placement exam. If you did miss the testing window, the next time you could take the exam, or if you did take the test and you want to get a qualifying score to enroll in the class, then you have an opportunity to take the test again in September. So for the chemistry, anybody who wants to register in Chem 2A or Chem 4A will you will need a qualifying score to be enrolled in it. During your pastime, you could register for it with the caveat that when you do take the placement exam, you do get the qualifying score for chemistry and math. If you do not have the qualifying score, the department will drop you from the class. The other alternative is for the chemistry. You could take a preparatory course, which is Chem 1 or Chem 1V. If you get a C- or better, then you can move on to Chem 2A. So if you feel like, I know some students took chemistry when they were in 10th grade, 2 years later, you may forget information, you want a refresher. It won't be a bad idea to register for, the preparatory Chem 1 and then passing that class, and then you could directly enroll in Chem 2A. If you want to go straight to Chem 2A, then you will need a qualifying score. Similar, like I mentioned, to math. Anybody who is registering for Math 12, 17A, 19A, 21A, 21M, you are required to take the placement exam and get the qualifying score. There are no exemption. You cannot use any tests, IB score to satisfy one of the math placement. You will need to take the math placement exam to stay enrolled in the class once you register for it during Pass 1 in August. So that's a little bit about the math placement, and Haley will be dropping those links in the chat. And like I mentioned earlier, if you missed the window of your testing period, you do have the opportunity to take it in the fall quarter. And not all students are not required to take it. So if you decide to pursue a history major, chemistry and math is not needed. You don't have to take the placement exam. All right, and then Haley will cover what's next.
Thank you, Hong. I did place those links in the chat that Hong mentioned regarding the chemistry placement and the math placement exams. So if you would like to go to each of those websites, see those additional windows that Hong mentioned as far as testing in September, you can review those there. And as she mentioned, I am going to go over what's next. So we do thank you for coming to this webinar. It is just one part of the experience of kind of getting acclimated to how things are going to work once you get to campus. But we also are going to be offering some other opportunities for you to get in touch with us. And there's some important dates coming up for you. So if you would like to get some additional advising, perhaps in a smaller group setting or perhaps one-on-one, you can attend an advising session before we get to Pass 1. So that might be drop-in advising, that might be group advising, as I said. or an appointment, and we will send an email after this webinar with those various options so that you can speak with an advisor if you have questions about your specific schedule or perhaps some recommended schedules that we can provide to you. If you feel like you are ready for your pastime, then you will be able to register on August 5th and 6th if you are an incoming first year student. And if you are an incoming transfer student, you will either register on the 13th or the 14th, depending on your assigned pastime. You can see your assigned pastime when you will be registering in a couple of different places. One of those would be your Oasis, one would be My UC Davis, and then another would be Schedule Builder. So if you're not certain what your pastime is, that might be a good thing to talk to an advisor about, but you can know that those dates are coming in early August. After Pass 1, you will have another opportunity to continue adjusting your schedule, and that's going to be your Pass 2. That is going to occur somewhere between August 18th and September 14th. So you can kind of check in each of those places that I mentioned previously, either Schedule Builder, your Oasis, or My UC Davis for your specific date and time to register during Pass 2. Following both registration periods, there will be orientation, which will be likely when we see you in person for the first time. If you come to campus and attend those sessions, there will be sessions going on between September 17th and 22nd, and you will receive more information about those as far as major advising from us, potential intended major sessions, and fun events that you can attend as an incoming student. Now we are at the period where you can ask us your questions. Some of you have already been putting some great questions into the chat, sending them to us as the hosts, but trust me, other people out there have questions too, so do not be shy about putting them in the Q&A and sharing them with everyone. All folks can answer questions who are on this webinar with you. Hong, Joe, myself really want to make sure that you feel prepared to move forward. So please do not hesitate to put questions in the chat about any of the things that were covered. Sure.
The one question that just came in is that's a good timeline question to think about. It says, when do we get to choose a major? And the answer is really at any point. Now, you can't formally declare a major until you have established good academic standing. So that does take at least 1 quarter at UC Davis of finishing with a 2.0 or higher GPA and completing at least 12 units. However, if you've identified a specific major that you want to pursue, maybe animal science or environmental science and management, or even a major in a different college, we encourage you to check out the Canvas modules for that particular major. You have access to all those Canvas modules, and we encourage you to start taking coursework toward those majors. You can even try getting in contact with those major advisors. Some majors do have what we call entrance requirements, where in addition to being in good standing, students must complete a series of prerequisite classes before becoming eligible to declare. So it might take a few quarters before you have a chance to complete all the classes necessary. But we still encourage you to continue working with your intended major advisor on that.
On the subject of declaring a major, it looks like we have another question about whether you can declare a major that's in a different college, like perhaps a major in the College of Letters and Science, College of Engineering, or for those who are interested in majors within the College of Biological Sciences. And the answer is yes. You can declare a major that's in a different college. You don't necessarily need to choose a major within College of Ag and Environmental Sciences, although that's where you're starting out as an undeclared student. In any of the cases, depending on which college you have an interest in, it would be a similar process to what Joe was mentioning as far as the declaration and wanting to make sure that you are getting in touch with your intended major advisor from those various colleges. Depending on the college, you may have somewhat easier access getting in touch with major advising than others, because some, kind of like the College of Engineering, will have perhaps sessions regarding change of major, or others will allow you to reach out directly to the department and meet with them. So it's good to check on what intended major advising looks like for the major that you're interested in. And again, if you decide that that's a major within a different college, you can reach out to them and kind of see what that process is going to entail as far as prerequisites or requirements that you might need to meet before you can actually declare that major.
Yeah, there was a question in the chat. Can you double major in two different colleges? So the answer is yes. We have many students who double major with College of Ag and a major in a different college. One thing to know about College of Ag bylaws, double major eligibility, is that you cannot submit the double major petition form until you're in good standing. You have complete at least one upper division course and have a 2.0 in the upper division requirement and any requirements that the major require as well. One thing to note about doing a double major is making sure that only certain amounts of courses can overlap. So if you're picking two similar majors to kind of overlap, that's kind of crucial. So if you are thinking about doing a double major, we recommend that you meet with your first primary major advisor first, create an academic plan, and then meet with your second intended major, create an academic plan. I will also encourage you to kind of look at that plan when they create for you. Do you feel like the heavy workload is feasible for you? The other requirement and policy here is you have to finish your degree within 4 years. If you need more than 4 years, then you do need to finish everything within the 225 unit cap. We do exclude any APIB or pre-matriculated units that you took prior to coming to UC Davis. But those are all conversations that you can have with one of us in an advising appointment. And then the other question that I saw was, does being an undeclared fall you behind in future intended major? The answer will be no. We have many students who change a major all the time. So we even have declare major who switch to other major. So we recommend, if you are thinking, if you know you want to pursue a major or you want to explore, take classes in those directions to see if by taking those classes that will inform you of decision whether or not you want to pursue that direction or not.
Yeah, another question that we got is, how can we schedule an Aggie advising appointment? So our appointment system will become available to students, to you, incoming students, starting next week. You will be able to use our appointment system to be able to schedule advising appointments with advisors in our office. It's helpful for you to also make sure that you have completed your Canvas modules and review all that information, because there are some helpful points for you to consider with respect to schedule building and things like that. We will also be hosting a series of group advising sessions that will begin taking place next week. I don't recall the exact dates off the top of my head, but you will or have received information about that as well. So there are going to be a couple different ways for you to connect with academic advisors before you register for classes at the beginning of August. We encourage you to reach out with any questions as they come up. We want to make sure that you get those questions answered and have all the information needed to help you build that first quarter schedule and get off to a good start here at UC Davis. Another question along that same line is, will we be able to privately schedule a meeting with our advisor to choose classes before Pass 1? as I mentioned before, the answer is yes. You can use the appointment system to schedule a one-on-one advising appointment. We can accommodate appointments via phone, via Zoom. You don't, of course, have to be in the Davis area and schedule an in-person appointment by any means. We're here to accommodate you and make sure that you can connect with us in a variety of different ways. But yes, you're welcome to schedule a 30-minute advising appointment where we can go over more specifics about your academic record, looking at things like entry-level writing, if you need to take the math placement, the chem placement, and different class ideas for you to be considering.
There's a question in a chat. If I took dual enrollment courses in high school, how can I find out which UC Davis courses they are equivalent to or satisfy credit for? I believe in your campus modules, there is a section that can assist you with that. You can use assist.org to determine course equivalency. And if you need additional help with that, we can assist you with that in an advising one-on-one appointment. Thank you, Joe, for dropping in the assist.org. In terms of like GE credit, you could look at the general catalog to determine, okay, if you took this English 300 at this community college, and if it transferred back to UW P1, you could look in the general catalog or schedule builder to determine what GE credit that can satisfy. All right.
There's another question here about potentially deferring enrollment. We recognize that for some students, they may be accepted to UC Davis for this upcoming fall, for fall of 2025, and may decide for various reasons to defer their enrollment to a future term. First and foremost, that is a discussion you really need to be having with our undergraduate admissions office. And so you do need to be in contact with undergraduate admissions regarding that. In terms of placement exams and other things, all of that information would still apply to you for when you would potentially start at UC Davis. The good news about those placement exams and writing surveys, they're offered and available throughout the entire academic year and summer. There are different testing windows and different opportunities for you to take them. So you don't have to take them now if you're not going to start at UC Davis now. But first thing, you do need to be in contact with undergraduate admissions in order to talk through the different options with respect to deferring enrollment.
I know we have 2 minutes here. Do we want to answer one last question from the student before we do our closing?
I'll just say, just really reiterate from our perspective, I know there's a lot of questions. We hope that this webinar really gives you a starting point. This wasn't designed to answer every single question you have. And we know and we recognize that those are going to be more specific questions that we'll be answering over the coming weeks when you have a chance to meet with us more directly. In the meantime, we do encourage you to make sure to complete your Canvas modules and familiarize yourself with the technology like Schedule Builder and Oasis. And getting familiar with those applications can really help prepare you for the process itself. You'll also want to start thinking about the types of majors you want to pursue. If you want to pursue a more science-based major, you're going to need to plan on taking the chem placement exam, the math placement exam. And you do need to be mindful of how you're going to satisfy the entry-level writing requirement. So all those things will factor into the decision making when it comes to scheduling your classes. And we'll be able to talk more individually when we meet with you in group advising or one-on-one. I will also just acknowledge too, for those of you with dual enrollment credit, the registrar's office is working with the admissions office on posting and receiving all your credit. Within the next I'd say 4 to 6 weeks, we do expect all the transfer credit to be posted in Oasis, where you can see your academic record, including community college dual enrollment classes that you've completed previously. So that coursework will be posted to your academic record, but it may not be inputted by the time you register for classes. There's a lot of students, a lot of transfer credit to get through. So we just ask for your patience and know that for many of you, that credit may be coming. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and wrap up the webinar for today. We thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us. This webinar will be posted online and we will share the link with you when that gets posted. We certainly wish you nothing but the best moving forward and look forward to meeting you in person in September when orientation and welcome week activities kick up. In the meantime, we'll be here waiting for you to answer any questions that you have about scheduling and all of that. We hope you have a great day and enjoy the rest of your summer.